Now that we've seen how easy it is to integrate a Flash movie, I'm going to walk you through the process in this lesson, whereby we're going to incorporate an HTML5 movie. Now, when we say HTML5 movie, we don't actually mean that's a format that you will be looking for. You won't find a movie file format called HTML5. You will have to find a different format, and the format that is predominantly used is MP4. It's not the only format, but as I say, it's the one that does get used the most. So what we're looking at now is our movies page once again, but so that I don't clutter it up with too many movies, I've removed the Flash movie that we set up in the previous lesson, and in exactly the same position we are going to integrate the MP4 version of our movie file. It's exactly the same as what we saw in the last lesson with the Flash movie, it's just a different format. And it's a format, you'll remember me saying in the previous lesson, it's a format that isn't affected by the Apple problem, in that on iPhones or iPads you can't view Flash movies. Using this format, the MP4 format, then there really shouldn't be any problems. And to be honest, it's a very similar process. Come up to Insert, and then either roll down to this option, HTML5, or roll down to Media, as we did in the previous lesson, and fly out to the right, where you'll see all these different options. And of course we need that HTML5 video option, so I'll select it, and there we go. We now see an icon like we saw in the previous lesson, and placed at our cursor position. We now need to come down to the Properties Inspector, so that we can inform Dreamweaver which particular movie we want to use. However, in this case, it is made slightly easier, in that you can use the pick whip here next to your source field and then point at the particular file that you want to use. Well, I'm going to point it at this one. This is the MPEG-4 version, the MP4 file, as you can see in the type column. And of course, once I select that, then you'll see there, within my source field, there is the name of our movie, Stockton Heath Village.mp4. Now left like this, once you load your page up into the browser, the very first frame of your video will be the frame that gets displayed prior to actually starting the video playback. If you want to alter that, perhaps you've created a JPEG image that you want to use instead, well, with that poster field just underneath, you could navigate to that particular JPEG and use that instead. That will be the poster image that gets displayed prior to the movie starting. You'll also notice in the bottom left-hand corner, we see those same checkboxes as we saw with our Flash video. We have Controls, Loop, Autoplay, and Muted. I'm going to leave it like that, in that my Controls checkbox is checked. I do want to allow the user the opportunity to see the controls, i.e. the play button, the volume slider, etc. However, there is a fundamental difference using HTML5 video like this, in that you can choose alternative formats of your video for those different types of browser that might not support the actual format that you are using. Now, to be honest, I think you're going to be fairly safe if you do choose MP4, but just in case somebody's viewing your site on a particular browser or a version of a particular browser that has a problem with MP4, well, you can see running down there at the bottom, you get the convenience of adding in two alternative sources. And furthermore, just to the right there, you'll see that field called Flash Fallback, which means the browser will fall back and view the Flash version of the file if necessary. Of course, you need to set that up, so let's do that, seeing as we've already got that Flash video within our same movies folder. I'll use my pick whip here and point it at the Flash version of the file. Okay, we're done. We now see in that Flash fallback field the name of our Flash movie, Stockton Heath.flv. Now, to reiterate, down in your left-hand corner, you choose what you want to do with these checkboxes. How much control do you want your users to interact once this movie's web page has opened up and displaying your movie? Anyway, before we go any further, let's do a quick save. I'll come up to File and then down to Save. Let's preview this. I'll hit my live button. Okay, so there you see it. There is the first frame of our movie. It's not automatically starting, and that's because I didn't check in the autoplay checkbox. But you'll remember, I did leave the checkbox checked to display controls. And of course that's why we see those controls running horizontally across the bottom of our movie. Which means if you want to flick through with this navigation to see various frames without having to watch it all through, although I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but you might just simply want to check it out. Anyway, that's what you can do. So that's us done for this lesson. We've now seen how easy it is to incorporate an MP4 file within the HTML5 video player that comes integrated with Dreamweaver. We don't have to buy a further extension for this, it's all done for us here. And actually that's something I want to talk about in the next chapter, whereby we're going to quickly look at expanding Dreamweaver by using extensions, and not necessarily extensions that are free, but some extensions that you might want to purchase. Anyway, we'll finish up this lesson and I'll see you in the next chapter.